Personal trainer and lifetime drummer Doug Pickard started DopaBeats after realizing the positive impact of exercise and rhythm on people with Parkinson's. In the following interview, Doug shares how the program came to fruition, the benefits of drumming for people with Parkinson's, how music and rhythm can be used to improve walking, and a sample of some typical class exercises.
Hello, my name is Melanie Dizon. I'm the Director of Education and Content at the Davis Phinney Foundation, and I'm really excited today to be here with Doug Pickard. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Melanie.
Excellent. Well, I talked to Doug a little bit about DopaBeats, and I didn't know a lot about it, so I thought, hey, we've got to have him on to talk about it. So, Doug, first, can you let us know who you are? Yeah, who you are, what you've done, your experience with Parkinson's, and how you got involved with the foundation. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Doug Pickard. I live in Parksville, British Columbia, up here in Canada. That's the joke, apparently. And I've been working with people with Parkinson's for about 13, 14 years. I don't actually have Parkinson's myself. But I started off with just as a personal trainer 14 years ago, working in a health club. I met one lady with Parkinson's. Her name was Donna, and just fell in love with her. And back then, there wasn't as much talk these days about exercise and Parkinson's and the importance of exercise. Now it's everywhere, which is one of the reasons why I became associated with the Davis Phinney Foundation, because Davis was a cyclist and on and on. But Donna and I worked together, and we noticed that she was feeling better with the exercise, and she invited me to come and talk with her local support group. So I met this group. They asked me to start an exercise class because we really hit it off together. So I started an exercise class. But what changed a little bit for me was I wanted to add something different and new. And I've been a drummer since the age of 12, and I started hearing thinking about rhythm and watching some of my people, watching them walk, watching their difficulty with gait and freezing. I started thinking about rhythm and how that might be helpful for them. So I started looking into that. And I thought, well, has anybody actually been using drumming with people with Parkinson's? And yes, there was certainly some people that were starting to identify the possibility of using drumming with people with Parkinson's. But I thought I'd take it to the next level and start my own little program. So that's how DopaBeats kind of came into existence.
Okay, so what is it doing for them? Is it how does it? Do you have people who have dystonia? Do you have people that what's going on? What's with the hands, and then how is it transferring to other parts of the body?
I thought long and hard about what the potential benefits could be, and a lot of the benefits are really subjective. It's really difficult to say, okay, you did this for 12 weeks, and this is exactly what happened. But just to back that up, there has been one positive study that was done through the Johns Hopkins University by a fellow named Alexander Padplayet. I always get his name incorrectly. And so I kind of used what he was doing as it kind of got me excited, because he did this 12-week study doing a traditional West African drum circle where everybody sits in a circle and they play along to these different rhythms. They had a control group, so they compared them to a non-drumming group, and then they had, I think it was six or 12 people that signed up to be drummers. They started off to do the PDQ 39 questionnaire, which is kind of a baseline, and then they did it again at the end after 12 weeks. And some surprising results that got me excited. Little things like kind of improved mobility, and their walking speed improved, which I found really interesting. Those are some of the kind of really tangible kind of results they got, but then they got all these other things like just feel good kind of things. Like one person said it felt like they were part of a community, part of a family, and which is so important for people with Parkinson's to get off your couch and get out there and be with other people. So all these kind of feel good kind of things came out of it. One person said it's nice to be part of a drumming circle instead of a drooling circle, which I thought was kind of funny. So that sense of humor again, too, right? So they keep coming back, and they seem to find that sense of community is really, really important. I'm finding that with my Zoom classes for sure. I'm getting other great comments, like the manual dexterity is improved. And one lady said that it was the first new thing that she learned since being diagnosed with Parkinson's. So this is the first thing she kind of added to her her repertoire of things that she does, where everything else has been taken away and she's added one new thing. So I thought that was really great to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Another one of those intangible kind of benefits is the thought of what it does to your brain when you drum. And this is a really hot topic right now. And what they're finding is that we're producing alpha waves when you play the drums. Now, a lot of folks with Parkinson's have a lot of stress and anxiety. It goes kind of part and parcel with the disease, and create or develop what they call a hypervigilant mind, where your mind is always on. And when your mind is on, you're producing these brain waves called beta waves. And beta waves, that's what we use when we're working, when you're thinking and you're concentrating. And it's not a restful state for your brain. It's a necessary state. And we're in the beta wave state a lot of times. But those alpha waves, that's kind of when you're daydreaming, just kind of chilling, doing something you really enjoy, just sitting back, even just closing your eyes. So things like meditation, mindfulness practices, yoga, all those kind of things, guided imagery, that a lot of my Parkinson's guys think, oh, that's a foo-foo stuff. I don't want to think about that. But if you get into the groove and you're playing the drum, you can go on for like 5, 10, 15 minutes playing these different patterns. Well, your brain slips into that alpha wave production, which is really important. So I think that's one thing that hasn't really been tapped yet, is the potential of the drum as kind of as a way to relax the Parkinson's mind. Because I know lots of the fellows that come to Rocksteady, they love to come in and work as hard as they can, but they need the downtime. And maybe this is one way that we can find that people can get into that alpha state. It's so important. And not to mention, when you're in that alpha state and when you're playing the drums, guess what? You're producing dopamine. Isn't that incredible for someone with Parkinson's? And serotonin and all these really feel-good chemicals. So as you do that, for instance, every time I have a drum session, I feel better after I played. Even when I was a kid, playing in my bedroom, playing my drums for an hour, drove my mother crazy again, my poor mother. But I find people get really sometimes, because it's hard in an online thing, but when I drum with people, it's not uncommon to see them like, oh, that was so much fun, I just loved it, and it just pumped up. You just feel like you're on a high. And that high is what people with Parkinson's need, right? So, and that has a bit of a residual effect. It'll take you through the rest of your day. You feel good.
Yeah. I wonder if curious about the walking things. You know how sometimes when you do something for a long time, you start to dream it, right? You just like, if you're taking a language, you start to dream in that language. And I wonder if just the repetition of doing that and hearing the drum sound, that when they start to walk and if they have any issues, they can like actually create the metronome in their head that helps them take the steps, right? Like, I'm just wondering if part of that is transferring, is like they're sort of, oh, I can tap into that. It's like a beat, right? And I can walk.
It's a beat. It's the rhythm of life. It always comes back to the rhythm. And I always joke about how when I was in school, I used to beat out a rhythm on my table drum. The teacher's crazy. It drove my mother crazy. I was always playing the drums. But I always go back to, like, I say, find a song that really makes you want to move. Like maybe it's, and sometimes we do like the disco songs, like Staying Alive. Well, you can tell by the way I use my. So I say, think about walking to a song that you really, really like. Think about that bottom bass, that bass rhythm that even nowadays, kids, when you go to watch kids dance in a club, it's that boom, boom, boom. That is still there. That has been there since way, way, way back in time. And in fact, I think it was 500 BC, the shamanic ritual tribe health guys were working with drums, healing people way back then. So it's still, even now, that rhythm, that basic rhythm that starts when you're in the womb, because you hear your mother's heartbeat. That's where you hear your first beat. That is still with us, because really it's kind of like our primal sense of who we are. It's our primal sense of being. So if you can find a song that makes you want to move, and in my Rocksteady boxing classes, we have started to bring some of the rhythm into the class. So sometimes I will put on Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line, right? So we put that song on and I make them walk in time with it. And like you say, Mel, like if you do it enough, repetition becomes normal. And then all of a sudden, your feet start to instinctively move. We know with Parkinson's that we lose a lot of the automatic movement that we take for granted when we don't have Parkinson's. And so you have to kind of force yourself to get moving again. It's like a metronome that's within the song. So instead of putting on a beep, 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 which really gets annoying, you put on a song that you love. Arthur Hull, who's kind of like the guru, the head of, like, he's the fellow who kind of got the drum circle thing just crazed to where it is now in North America. He worked with a young fellow once who had had a stroke and was really having trouble getting his gait going. And he gave him some headphones with some African music. And after a few weeks, he found that he was getting kind of bilateral movement was becoming much more similar on both sides and stuff. And he was starting to get both those legs working. And then he worked with some people with Parkinson's as well and gave them the headphones and put it on. So that's another option too. If you're in a safe place like a park, you could put on some music that really moves you and just practice moving. Then after a while, your feet start to remember, and then things start to roll along. And in that study I mentioned, they found that that was a big one, was the gait speed was improving after taking. So something's happening. There's something that's transferring over from the drumming that they do. And in my classes, I actually do get them to stand up and march in place. And then I get them to do a little dual tasking, which is so good for people with Parkinson's. So they're marching in place, and I'll get them tapping their hands. Like now we're talking about the rub the belly, you know, the dual tasking. So they're marching in place, and they're tapping 1, 2, 3, and then I'll go cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. Now they're doing something different with their hands and their feet. So now I'm trying to throw them off a little bit. And then we'll do a skip, a dump, up, 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 up. So they're changing their hand movement, but the feet just keep doing that 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're absolutely right. Practice makes maybe not perfect, but a lot better with the walking.
Right. So it's like an hour class, and you do it once a week?
We do it once a week. Right now it's on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Okay.
And how can people get involved if they want to check it out? Can they?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just starting a new session actually in first week of December, but it'll continue on. People can join up anytime, and we'll probably continue to add more time options as well as I go ahead. Like I say, this is an organic developing thing that I don't have it's going to continue to grow and get better. That's where we're at right now, but they could go on my website, which is DopaBeats.org.
Great. Love it. Can you play a song for us, or play something for us, or do like a thing that you might do in class?
You bet. So what's so great about these we kind of base a lot of our things on Western African rhythms, and they all come from these little villages. And this is nothing new. This is what most drum circles do. But we also do other things that I think are more specific for Parkinson's folks. For example, vocalization. We do a lot of vocalizing in the class. And we're trying to get to the point where we're going to maybe start doing more singing. It's hard to get people to sing, but they can certainly talk. So, for example, we do this thing called say it and play it phrases. And instead of just trying to learn a rhythm, we actually learn to say a phrase and then play the phrase. So we always come back to food for some strange reason. It's always about food. So for instance, one of the earliest, most basic ones is mashed potatoes. So we'll go mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes, mashed potatoes. Or we do other kind of rhythms like my favorite is peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly. So that's an example. So I'll get them doing that. We'll also do some vocalization where I'll have them do a little drum roll quietly. And we'll get louder, but we'll do a long, hold a long sound, like quietly, and then get loud. And it's a lot of fun, right? You feel silly doing it, but we have fun doing it. And then we'll do, one last thing I'll tell you, we'll do different rhythms that we overlayer. Now, this is where it's difficult not being in the same room. And every time we have a class, I say, I wish you guys were here with me in the room so you could hear this person doing this rhythm, that person doing that rhythm. For instance, we'll go. You could do that for 10 minutes, and another person would go. And that'll fit in together. So they'll get half the group to do one rhythm, the other group will do the other rhythm, and then they'll switch over. But I realized we're definitely limited by the fact that we're in a virtual world here. In a room together, it would be even better, but it is what it is. The great thing though is I can have people from all over the world potentially come in and join in the class.
Well, I know that you're going to have a lot more. You're probably not going to be able to fit them all. We're going to send them your way. I think this is super fun, and I'm excited to let people know about it. Well, thank you so much, Doug, for sharing all of this with us. I'm going to send everybody to you, and hopefully you get a great new bunch of people in your drum circles.
Fantastic. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity. I love the Davis Phinney Foundation. I'm so proud to be an ambassador with this amazing group, and you guys just keep producing these wonderful videos for us. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about DopaBeats.